As some of you might have seen in last week's video, I got this shiplap wall installed, and now it was time to tackle a project that's been on my personal bucket list for years, a secret door. And ever since seeing Bob from I Like to Make Stuff's secret door project years ago, I've always wanted to build one, but never really had a good place for one. That was until I decided to frame out this extra wall when redoing the flooring in this space, which left a small but usable amount of space that would have been inaccessible otherwise. As always, I started in SketchUp and modeled up what I was roughly thinking, which was a pair of matching bookshelves. The only difference between the two is that one bookshelf would also function as a door. After working out the rough sizing of the shelves and getting the shiplap installed, I could figure out how the pivot hinges I had ordered worked and how I would need to build the bookshelves to fit. To do this, I printed off the hinge dimensions and decided on the exact pivot point based on the measurements listed. I drilled a hole and stuck in a nail to act as the temporary pivot so I could come up with a template for the bottom of the bookshelf. I cut a piece of scrap plywood to match the size of the bookshelf and then measured and drilled a matching hole for the nail. After getting the template set in place, I could start the process of slowly cutting down the sides of my template little by little until it came close to clearing the sides of the door opening as it pivoted. Finally, I rounded the front left and back right corners to get the last bit of clearance I needed, then the template was rotating smoothly. Unfortunately, I didn't notice a detail here that would come back to bite me later in the project, but we'll get to that later. With my template size worked out, I could get to building the bookshelves, and this was pretty simple. The bookshelf sides, top, bottom, and shelves were all made from 3/4 inch plywood with a 1/4 inch back panel, and I got all the pieces cut to size at the table saw and miter saw. After cutting the pieces to size, I got the bookshelves assembled, and I did glue these pieces together since I figured the bookshelf with the hinge would need to hold up to some additional wear and tear, and I tacked the pieces together with brad nails to start. Next, I came back with my personal favorite screws for these kinds of cabinetry projects, these MDF screws, which have a special chisel tip that pre-drills the holes while driving the screws to prevent splitting. And these work incredibly well, and I'll link to them in the products tab here on YouTube and also in the video description in case you're interested. Ow! After screwing the corners together, I added the center shelf, which would also be fixed. This plywood had a little bit of a bow to it, so I clamped it while adding the center shelf, and this completely removed the bow. So after finishing the second bookshelf, I decided to go mountain biking with my wife, and as you might know, I ended up breaking my collarbone pretty badly, requiring surgery and putting me out of commission for a few weeks. Thankfully, my dad was around to help once I got back to work, and the next step in the project was getting the hinges installed in the door opening. These hinges came with a paper template, but in retrospect, I should have just measured out the locations of everything myself, as trying to use these templates led to a lot of inaccuracy. Also, there were no real instructions included with these hinges, so we were kind of flying blind here, and looking back, we did a lot of things wrong on this first go-round. For instance, these hinges don't really need to be fully mortised into the door opening, just into the bookshelves. Thankfully, since my dad was an avid woodworker back in the day, he knows his way around a chisel, so he was able to knock out the mortises since I was working with limited functionality in my left arm. After installing the bottom hinge, we used a line laser to transfer the center of the pivot point to the top of the door opening to ensure they were plumb, and then we could get the top hinge mortised into place as well. This part of the hinge had a large mechanism that needed to be recessed in the opening, so we went to town with the Forstner bit, hogging out the mortise. Once the hinge was fitting, my dad again chiseled out the area so the hinge could sit flush with the door opening, which was again completely unnecessary. While my dad worked on the door opening, I worked on getting the other half of the hinges installed on the bookshelf. As it turned out, one of the mounting holes for the hinge was overhanging the side of the shelf, and this should have been a red flag in retrospect. Unfortunately, in my rush to get this project moving forward again, I just soldiered on and glued a small block on the side of the bookshelf for the mounting screw. I got the hinge mounted and used a utility knife to score around the edges to help reduce chip out when chiseling out the area. I used a Forstner bit to remove the bulk of the material, and then came back with a chisel to clean everything up, and again, in retrospect, this mortise doesn't need to be super precise, since it isn't even visible in the finished installation. I eventually got the hinge mortised into place, and also rounded over the back edge with a sander while I was at it, and then I repeated the process to install the hinge on the top of the bookshelf. And out of all of the hinge parts, I didn't recess this hinge, and of course this hinge does need to be recessed, which I ended up doing later, as you'll see. And I think I was just excited to finally get this thing installed and try it out, which we did next. Unfortunately, due to the overall height of the bookshelf and the fact that we had recessed the hinges into the door opening, the throw of the pin mechanism in the hinge wasn't long enough to catch on the hinge plate on the bookshelf. Because of this, we had to shim the hinge parts in the door opening back to their original depth prior to mortising them flush. After shimming, we reinstalled the bookshelf, and while it kind of worked, the bookshelf was still a little short to be secure with the hinge mechanism. To fix this, we decided to just add an additional piece of 1/4-inch plywood to the bottom of the bookshelf, which would raise the height just enough to work. We glued and nailed the plywood in place and then reinstalled the hinge plate, also making a few other adjustments to help level and plumb the shelf while we were at it. We also removed more material from those corners to provide more clearance, and we pulled out a hand plane to help remove material more quickly. Finally, we got the shelf reinstalled, and it was actually working now.
Yep.
Boom.
Look at that, buddy.
Nice. That said, the front edges weren't quite flush with the door opening, and worst of all, the hinge was in the wrong location. So as you can see, we got the bookshelf installed. It is functioning really well. You can see, nice and smooth, opens and closes nicely, but ran into another kind of immediate setback. Where I decided to place this hinge meant that the way in which this door opens, if I have a piece of trim here, which I'm gonna have because the piece of trim on this side stays attached to this wall, then as soon as it starts to open, it is gonna interfere with the trim. And that is because where I set my pivot point is too close to the left side of this door jamb. We're basically just gonna start over on this right opening, so that way we don't have to try to work around all of this giant chiseled out areas that we've already done, and then we can just take this bookshelf and rotate it 180 degrees and should hopefully work. So I guess let's get to work. So I jumped back into SketchUp to try and work out where my pivot point actually needed to be, and as it turned out, about 4 inches from the inside edge of the door casing to the pivot point was perfect. And the real brain bender here for me was that the bookshelf I had built would continue to work regardless of the pivot location. And this was a huge relief, as otherwise it would have meant rebuilding the bookshelf entirely. This time we were much more precise about the layout, ditching the paper template and using more accurate layout tools. And this led to a much cleaner installation and a perfectly plumb and level bookshelf. Since we knew the pivot points themselves were the real critical location, we focused on keeping those extremely accurate and worried less about perfection everywhere else, since again, these hinges aren't even visible in the final install. Finally, it was time for the moment of truth, getting the bookshelf installed in its new location, and thankfully it was a perfect fit. Oh, nice. Oh yes. Trim? I'm not super excited until trim. Hell yes! Jesus. Man, that's smooth. Needless to say, we were pretty excited to have the shelf working, and now we could move on to the other hardware. Next up was the latch, which would hold the bookshelf closed, and I just screwed this to the back of the cabinet. Since the cabinet was so much deeper than the wall, I needed to get a little creative with where the latch catch would be installed, and I probably should have done this a little bit better, but hey, it works. Basically, I needed the catch to be about 4.5 inches in from the wall, so I just nailed and screwed together scraps until I had a thick enough assembly, then marked where I needed to install the plate. I installed the plate temporarily just to double check the positioning, and once that was confirmed, I removed it to drill a hole for the latch to seat into more deeply. With the latch functioning correctly, I could work on the pull cord. I drilled an angled hole through the back of the bookshelf and fed through some of this cable I had left over from hanging my dust collection ductwork. To create the loop, I installed one of these gripples, which have a ton of holding power and can be adjusted or removed if needed. I added another loop around the latch, and with that, the door was functional, and as luck would have it, my mom had just come by the shop with my son, and he of course wanted to try out the door for himself. Wow! Hello. With the hinge and latch working, I could remove the door and get it prepped for finish. The first thing I needed to do was drill some shelf pin holes, which I did with this shelf pin jig. Next, I got the cabinet sanded with 120 grit sandpaper, breaking all of the sharp edges while I was at it. While I continued sanding, my dad got a coat of shellac-based primer added to the bookshelves, which will help seal all the surfaces that won't get painted. Next, we could get the shiplap wall painted, and this ended up being a real struggle. So the paint sprayer I used for these types of projects wasn't a fan of this thick exterior paint I was using, even after some thinning, so my dad brushed and rolled the first coat, and this took basically an entire day. We decided to try spraying again for the second coat, and after thinning the paint a little more, the sprayer was at least getting some paint applied. Unfortunately, now a clog had appeared, and even after cleaning the gun multiple times, I could not get it cleaned out. And it seemed like our best choice was a combination of the two, basically spraying the paint on the wall, since it would at least get good coverage on the wall, and then my dad could follow behind me with a roller to smooth out the surface texture. We left the paint to dry for a few hours, and then we could get the bookshelf installed for the last time. And I got a good close-up of the mechanism here, and as you can see, there's a retractable pin that is adjusted using a small set screw, and this screw is adjusted through a clearance hole in the top of the bookshelf. Once the bookshelf was installed, we could work on getting the trim installed, and the trim is what really sells this as a built-in bookshelf instead of a secret door. I started by marking out my 3/8 of an inch reveal on the edges of the cabinet, and then I cut the right trim piece to length. Since the bookshelf has to swing out past the top and bottom trim, I made the right trim piece an extra 1/16 of an inch long at the top and bottom, and as you can see, I only nailed the trim to the wall here since it stays in place as the door swings out. Next, I installed the trim on the left side of the bookshelf, cutting it to the same size as the right side. The difference is this trim is attached to the bookshelf itself and will swing out with the bookshelf. And because of this, I only nailed the trim to the bookshelf, not to the wall. Next, I installed the top trim piece, and as you can see, there is a 1/16 of an inch gap between the top of the bookshelf and this trim to allow the shelf to swing out. And this piece of trim is fixed, and I nailed it to the wall with 2-inch brad nails. Finally, I repeated the process for the bottom trim piece, and then I could test out the functionality, and thankfully, it worked great. There was a little bit of rubbing between the trim pieces, but a little relief sanding fixed that right up. I thought I'd leave the latch pull off for painting, but it was becoming pretty annoying to have to go around to open and close the bookshelf every time, so I went ahead and reinstalled it, adding the gripple to the wire, feeding it through the latch, and making a loop by feeding the end back through the gripple. I could test the functionality again, and it was working really well, which was super exciting after all the work we'd put into this project. Next, we went ahead and got the other bookshelf installed, which is really a built-in bookshelf. We did use a line laser to make sure the top edge of both bookshelves lined up, and once the bookshelf was shimmed, I screwed it to the door opening with some 3-inch screws. We trimmed the door out in the same way, leaving the same gaps so everything was nice and symmetrical, but I did caulk the inside edges on this bookshelf using my favorite paintable caulk, Big Stretch. With that, the bookshelves were installed, and the last thing I wanted to install prior to painting everything were a few pancake boxes so I can mount some lights above these bookshelves later. I had to use pancake boxes here because the locations landed right on a stud, but that's exactly why these kind of boxes exist. Once the boxes were installed, we could move on to painting, and this time I used the smaller detail attachment that came with this sprayer. And this gun puts out a lot less material, so I probably wouldn't have wanted to spray the entire wall with it, but it was perfect for these bookshelves. With the painting done, I could get the finishing touches added to the secret door, starting with the lever for the latch mechanism. And I've seen a lot of people use books for this, but I figured a VHS tape was already the perfect size, and I could just screw everything right to the tapes. I picked up a few classics from my local Goodwill and started by attaching this tie-down to the back of the VHS. Next, I looped through the steel cable and added the other screw to connect it permanently. I cut a little scrap plywood spacer to keep the tapes in place while I worked on the other hardware, and next I needed to install the hinge on the bottom of the tape. And I had this small hinge lying around the shop and screwed one side to the bottom corner of the tape and the other side to the bookshelf, which was easier said than done. I got the cable tightened back up and could test the mechanism, and it worked great. I do have to make sure to keep the VHS tape pulled back so the latch doesn't catch on the trim as the door is swinging out, but otherwise it works well and then locks right back into place. I also used a Sharpie to black out the hinge, but you really wouldn't see it if you weren't looking for it. To hold the tapes on either side of the lever in place, I drove some screws up through the bottom of the shelf. Also, the friction between the covers when using the lever was causing one of the covers to ride up, so I added a little CA glue to keep it in place. Next, I could get the adjustable shelves installed and get some stuff added to the shelves, including some of my Funko Pops, which really didn't have a home here at the new shop. I got the lights wired up, both of which are controlled with a smart plug, and I also added a light inside the closet with a little switch right inside the door opening. Finally, I got a TV set up with some LED lights to give the wall a little extra pop, and with that, I could call this project a wrap. This secret door project was definitely a struggle, but it turned out even better than I expected. This feature wall has totally transformed the space, and I just love how great the door functions. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and get subscribed and ring the notification bell if you want to see more videos like this in the future. I'll have links to all the tools and materials I used in the video description below. And last, if you want to support me, I sell merch, plans for my projects, and 3D printed shop storage accessories, all of which I'll link to below. Thanks for watching, y'all, and until next week, happy building.